Okay, we do in fact have time for one more friend. Let's get this game back up on the board. Definitely going to. Poor throat. Such a growly lady. Okay. Volume 8. Another night, another ramble. Classic song comes back to you as you continue on your way. Some of that good old earth wisdom about a specific kind of footwear being made for walking. You wish you had that kind of footwear right now, in this current chapter of your life. Or any footwear for that matter. You've definitely learned your lesson about getting overexcited at the prospect of new friends. And running out in nothing but a bathrobe. Oh, who are you kidding? Maybe not in that particular bathrobe way, but chances are high that wasn't the last time you'll fly off in the buoyant afterglow of an intense friendgasm. Alright. We got Tyzias and Chixie. Tyzias once. Just up ahead, you see a troll leave her hive, muttering to herself. She's holding an unstable mountain of papers and books with one arm, using her free arm to hold a mug steady. She isn't paying attention to you, which is fine. Don't get it twisted, you'd love to make another friend. You just understand now that it's a weird, flighty thing. Some trolls you mesh with, some you don't. You smile at her, just in case, but when she walks right by you without stopping, you shrug. This planet is chock full of friendable weirdos. You'll live. You only take a few more steps before the sound of her absolutely eating shit on the sidewalk makes you turn. It happens fast enough, so you only really see the aftermath of upended books and papers raining down in an impressively wide circle around her. Oh, globes. Damn ass rock. She sits up, but that's as far as she bothers to get. After taking a sip from her mug, which somehow must have stayed level in her grip during her fall, she sighs and gets to work gathering it all back up with her free hand. Yeah, this checks out. It's a thing that would happen to me. Not like I have anything else to be doing. You've seen a teen movie or two in your day. You know this trope. The cool kid helps the unpopular nerd after they fall like a chump and embarrass themselves. Then slowly the pair establishes trust. By the time the credits roll, they've gone and fallen in love. Not that you necessarily want to fall in love, or that you're under the delusion that you're in any way cooler than her, but still, it's tried and true, and also like a pretty standard decent person thing to do. So, like the decent person you hope to be, you skedaddle on over. You stop short just in front of her wide-flung ring of items. You want to make sure she's not going to yell at you or murder you or anything before you interfere. What? Dickhead, busted ass, I know it's a scene. Oh, what are you waiting for? Be a good bystander and stop standing by. She gestures kind of all around her, and that's confirmation enough. You bend to pick up a heavy-looking book, and there it is, emblazoned right on the cover. A gavel. A humongo fucker of a judgment implement, too, with spines all around the handle. Dread creeps up your spine. You slowly slide your gaze from the book's cover to its owner. She doesn't have on any ostentatiously blood-colored themed clothes on. Oh wow, she is sporting socks and sandals. Maybe you are cooler than her after all. But the very prominent eye bags are tinged teal. Ah, globes. A lawyer. It's not that you don't appreciate your one lawyer friend for who he is, it's just you aren't sure you have it in you to sneak your way into the heart of another. You got kinda lucky last time. The scales of judgment in your heart start weighing your chances. Keep standing there, paralyzed by choice. You kind of can't look away from that gavel. Those spines could really stab a person's skull right open, huh? Wow, thanks for all the standing around and staring assistance. It's really helping a lot. Definitely can't just do that on my own. You're still stuck on the image. She stands up, grumbling, and snatches the book out of your grasp. She turns, waving a dismissive hand at you. Never mind. Oh, you're just in my way. She doesn't tell you to leave, but she stops acknowledging you, which you figure is pretty much the same thing. You were iffy about this one from the start, but damn, turns out rejection still sings. Game over. Of course. Bart. Pick up some papers. You start making neat piles of all their stuff. After watching you for a second, like she's making sure you're not screwing it up, she dramatically heaves herself to her feet and joins in the effort. I don't have time for this shit. Make sure to keep the B-34s together in my red folder. You look down at your current pile. B. That's the one with the little hook on top, right? Or is that G? Sweat pricks at your temples. You picked up a little bit of written Alternian here and there, but you're still not anywhere near competent at it. Sifting through the papers, you search for anything familiar. You make out a few words, but there are just a lot of those little guys on these papers, and you've got performance anxiety. Alright, you probably still can't read. You look up at her, startled. How can she tell? Oh, I meant you don't look like much like a troll. It isn't exactly a gargantuan mental leap to assume you're not from around here. I've also heard about you. You straighten up. Any press is good press when it comes to friends discussing you, right? Teals talk. Oh. Unfortunately. Oh. She puts her mug down on the ground and picks up a fallen book, talking as she flips to whatever page she's looking for. That little asshole is going to have even more unfortunate crap to say to me when it finds I set us all back by dropping half our group project in a ditch. She paces in fluttered circles until she finds a bookmark among the debris. Flicking a wet leaf off of it, she shoves it in the open spine of the book and slams it closed. Oh, whatever. I can't think about that yet. Gotta get all this back in order first. Right. Yeah. The ordering of stuff. You keep at it, doing the best you can to keep similar-looking things together. You can feel her eyes on your back when you turn to face judgment. You basically got it right, actually. You did say you were a kick at the draw. I'm Tyzias, by the way. She doesn't so much smile at you as grimace. She looks mostly pleased, as exhausted expressions go. That's as good friendship-building material as any other. You've certainly started with worse than being complimented. The breeze plays at the ends of her frizzy hair, ruffling a few pages while it's at it. Now that you aren't frantically trying to prove your helpfulness and have a moment to think, you don't know if the sidewalk is the best place to be, starting from scratch with a whole filing system. You open your mouth to tell her as much, when a huge papa gust follows in Breeze Jr.'s wake, blowing the neat stacks back into chaos. Mother grubbing. She sinks slowly back down in the snow globe of paper, takes a long sip from her mug sitting next to her, and then tilts her head back and unleashes a single deep-gut holler. You scuttle around, catching documents out of the air until the gust is gone. It's not that Tyzias doesn't seem capable, it's just that she seems a bit burnt out. You know what it's like to feel you're at the end of your rope. So now that you have half a swinging grab and a handle on things here, you feel like it's your turn to do the heavy friendship lifting. I don't want to keep through these choices. Just that a small breather might help. You know breaking point when you see one. You weren't expecting it so early in a potential friendship encounter, but still, it's clear that this troll needs some time to chill. This is a mess, yeah? She swings the pendulum of her chin over to glare deadened knives at your guts. Okay, yes, it's a mess. But it seems like maybe, just perhaps, it would be best to sort of put a pin in it all. To suck air in and out of our insufflation sacks or whatever, and just get it together for a minute. No group projects were ever aced when a clear leader was not at her peak mental performance. She wrinkles up her nose and closes her eyes. You know what? Fine. Fuck it. Not all of it, of course, but this night specifically, and anything and everyone I know or have thought extensively about before in my life. So that it just leaves you. What do you have in mind, friend, because I'm all out of ideas. That word still does a number on you, no matter how many times you hear it used flippantly. You have an idea already, so you hurriedly gather her shit into extremely unorganized piles, which she drops off in her hive to deal with later. You half expect her to just not come back out, but she does. She's kept only one heavily annotated tome and her mug, which she nods at when she speaks. I know, but these were just in case. Anyway, do your worst. With a salute and a few gentle tugs at Tyzias' sleeve to keep her moving, you get going. You and your Alternian pals have taken turns leading each other to some pretty wild places in your time here. The place you take Tyzias to, though, is somewhere you haven't shared with anyone. It's where you come back to on days when you can't find a friend, or don't want to impose on any of the ones you've made. It's on the outskirts of town, where the buildings are spread thinner until the landscape cuts upward in a jagged cliff face. Bolted into the side of the rock is a tower, or what's left of one. It's basically a heap of scaffolding and rusted-out ladders holding up a half-covered platform, but it's been a good place to staunch bleeding and stargaze. Do I give off an outdoorsy vibe to you? Does my half-untucked button-up and paltry muscle mass scream, "Would love to scurry up a dilapidated relic"? You'd worry about her hating your plan, but you kind of feel like she'd complain no matter where you took her, and at this point the die is cast. So, heave-ho, you say. It's stronger than it looks. You offer to hold her stuff for her during the ascent. She gives you the book, but clutches the mug against her chest. You know better than to pry, but you're dying a little, wondering why she's so weird about it. Unless she's got liquor made from viscera in there. Or maybe her Lucis gave her the mug, so it's special. Could be both. You shrug and start climbing. Like you thought she would, she follows you. And like before, she complains about it the whole time. And like the structure itself, you both weather it fine. At the top, she looks around. Is this your hive? It's more like a hideout. You still feel a little shy about it. Not as fancy as your friends' hives, and you don't have any weird animal parent to make you snacks or anything. There are only little keepsakes you picked up along the way, set up on a creaky old table next to some complicated old tech you couldn't get to power on. This must be an old watchtower, from when that was part of her Imperial bitchiness preferred method of surveillance. She runs a hand over the dusty screen. Oh, Tritza, you learned about her. No. Her bigger, badder, off-world counterpart, the Condess. You look at the rusted barrel of some terrifying weapon mounted in the corner, and then out over the landscape in sprawling town. In the distance, smoke rises from a freshly demolished hive. Glinting in the moonlight, drones circle it like buzzards. It's been like this here for a while then. You sit down, your legs dangling off the side of the platform. Tyzias joins you, a safe distance away from the edge. That is one hell of an understatement. But yeah, we've got a time-honored status quo in operation here. Streamlined, efficient, brutal. Tyzias looks miserable. That's not what you were going for. You summon up the old Roy G. Biv in your head for the 1000th time. She should be safe, right? Teals are middle class? Anyway, she's a lawyer. She's got the powers that be on her side. Saying so doesn't seem to cheer her up at all. I mean, you're not wrong. But being in a position to benefit from the system doesn't make the system more morally palatable. And if I'm being real about it, it's more me being forced to uphold it than anything else. She nods toward the book in your hands. Oh right, how does this all work anyway? Can she just not be a lawyer? And aren't there good ones? Yeah, I can quit. If I want to get called. There's always a choice. She sighs. It's not like I expect suffering to ever stop completely. It just seems like an awful lot of work to do to make sure it keeps happening. And that's the entire job of a legislacerator. Unless you're purple enough to get away with it, you're just guilty, no matter what. It's just a matter of going through all the fanfare of a trial, all for the same result. It's sick, but so normal by now that no one knows how to begin questioning it. She looks more exhausted now than she did during the paper explosion. Like when you've used up all your sadness and all you have is a deep, broken fatigue. This isn't exactly the rejuvenating getaway you envisioned. There's just so much injustice. You continue to try to be positive. Are there not political parties? Some secret underground movements or anything? Sure, most lowbloods you've met have a healthy, fatalistic nonchalance about their situations, but there's gotta be something else out there. There are a few people who tried to stir shit up back in the day. It's all kind of hushed up and hard to find the information on the history of them, though. Definitely not the kind of thing they teach you in legislacerator training. One was of mutant blood, and the other had wings? I guess they didn't have much of a chance anyway. You can't imagine the story having a happy ending, but you still want to know more. There's a subtle shift in her tone of voice now that she's doing more than only complaining. It draws you in. One of them seems to have gathered enough of a following to become a kind of religious figure, from what little I can find about him. The other one led a military revolt. They both were killed, along with their attempts at change. I don't even know what happened to their compatriots. He stops to squint at you. I don't know how you got me talking like this, but in the fuck it spirit of the night, I'm just going to keep going. If it wasn't clear, I'm telling you things that can get me extremely cold. So please be chill. You're so chill. The chillest. And also probably pretty colorful yourself. Good point. She squints at you a little longer, and then stares out into the night. Her jaw muscle clenches a few times before she speaks. I have some ideas. She's still not looking at you, but she sits up a little straighter. You feel your spine following suit almost on its own. All of his training to be legis lacerators? Like to practice throwing our weight around. Some of us more than others, which I guess you have first-hand experience with. But we don't have much real power yet. We will, though, if we pass our exams. Which I will. I've been staying up most days studying every documented piece of the law, and some underground stuff too when I find it. There are exploitable loopholes they don't know about. If I can establish myself as a major player, I might have a chance to change things. Some things you can only take apart from the inside out. By now, she's built up a fevered energy, even with the sluggish way she talks. When you shift in your seat, she kind of snaps out of it. Oh, sorry. Guess I got a little worked up. I don't exactly get to talk about this very often. Kind of overwhelming to think about how fucked every little thing is all the time. But now that I see it clearly, I can't not do something. It's like Alternia is a giant fire, and I'm pissing on a tiny corner of it, while the rest of everything burns up around it. Your brain is buzzing with how real all that felt. You can't really add anything to it, so you just nod. Are things less abysmal where you're from? Ooh boy, in ways, yeah. At home, the accused is called a defendant at least. As in, they get a defense. Her eyes brighten. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Does your justice system work? You exhale slowly, trying to buy yourself time to encapsulate all your planet's various cultures, societal structures, and similarly overwhelming list of injustices in an intelligent blurb. You settle on, not always, not for everyone. Her laugh is short and hollow. So much for enlightened life forms existing somewhere in the universe. You guess until a more kind and just alien life form comes to take over, you'll have to make do with each other. Yeah, you're not so bad. I'd take on an oppressive regime with you anytime. She gives your arm an awkward tap with her fist, and then looks back out over the edge. Anyway, I'm no religious figure or military strategist. There's gotta be someone out there who is. Gotta use what skills I have instead, I guess, until I find them. What the fuck else would I do with my time? Be pissing on the fire is the best anyone can do, I can reckon. Best anybody can do, you reckon. That and get others hydrated enough to do the same. She laughs. Keep on pissing, huh? I'll drink to that. She takes a big swig from her mug. After a beat, she silently, and without looking at you, extends her arm your way. You stare in the mug's depths, a little unnerved. It doesn't look like viscera, but you've been burned before. Won't kill you. You're not sure what it will do, but Tyzias is truthful, if nothing else, so bottoms up. What the fuck? It's water. Tyzias grins and taps her temple with a claw. Gotta give people something. Otherwise they might think I'm the way I am on my own. Then where would we be? You don't know. Letting people in can be helpful, you know, sometimes. Shh. I'm fine. You're not convinced. Okay, I'll admit it. It's not a bad idea to relax every once in a while. Get your priorities straight. This was a decent time. You're glad she's glad, but you mostly just talked the whole time about the same stuff that she was overwhelmed by to begin with. Does that even count? You learned a lot, but she still looks pretty wiped. As soon as you think that, she yawns. She's so driven. You shiver a bit when you imagine what she could do if she took her time to rest for real. You pat the pile of blankets next to you. It's no bed, or tub of soap or slime for that matter, but it's gotten you through enough. She looks warily at it and yawns again. I guess my Lucius and my mates Bribble just think I'm at the book hive anyway. One little nap won't hurt. I'll get up early tomorrow and reorganize our spirit busy work project. She tentatively lowers herself down onto the blankets. Her eyes close for a brief second before they snap open again, glaring at you with full force. Don't doubt me either. I've got it under control. Oh, you have zero doubts in her abilities, you say. She curls back up against herself, and a small rattle of contentedness shakes in her throat. Out in the distance, the blaze is dimmed with thin plume of smoke. You hope whoever's hive it was, is okay. You're not sleepy, so you'll keep watch to make sure she gets up by sunrise. You tilt your head back and look at the unfamiliar constellations. Your head feels full. It's intense, not exactly what you'd call happy, but you know you're feeling it with her, and that's far from nothing. Yeah. Aww. Aww. Okay. I think we have to screw that up one more way. Pick up some papers. And I will help her organize it all somewhere with less of a breeze risk. Hey, your night is pretty wide open. You wouldn't mind moving this operation to a less windy location and getting it together for real. Yeah, alright. She still sits there kind of dazedly, so you take over. It feels nice to be useful, even if you're not super confident about your skills. You at least know how to make a mean pile. After you make a handful of them, she moves to join in the effort, so you shush her back down. You're helpful, McHelpfulshin, and you have got it. She makes a non-committal noise and watches you work. You try not to feel too bad when she winces at a few of your sorting decisions. She doesn't stop you, at least. She scrunches up her face and yawns, which catches you off guard. Man, she really is white. You look away from her to the paper you're about to grab, but it's not there. Maybe it blew into another stack? Or you picked it up already and forgot? Yeah, that's probably right. Anyway, she had her eyes closed, so she didn't notice. It'll be fine. Once you have everything kinda together, you help her to her feet. You're pretty sure that was her hive she just walked out of, so you ask if you should go there. No, I was headed to the book hive. I can take you there. She seems to rally a bit, now that it's her turn to lead the way. She picks up a hefty stack of her things, balances her mug on top of it all, and starts walking. Move it or lose it. It being the opportunity to engage in some really tedious micromanagement. There's no choice to be had, really. You move it. The book hive is an imposing building, and inside are a series of rooms opening off a central atrium. You walk past one open set of double doors, showing off a room full of weird statues and display cases, and another one bright with the light of dozens of display screens and humming with electricity. Further around the curve of the room, you pass a room full of brains in jars. It really looks like brains in jars. There's another still, a windowless one, ostentatiously secured with multiple padlocks and what looks like a retina scanner. There are a bunch of trolls in each room, and as you keep passing doors, you realize they're almost all Tealbloods. Are they the, nerd cast? How harsh. I mean, yeah, though. They kind of are. I know plenty of Goldbloods who spend their nerd energy ruining the internet from their basements. And Blue Bloods usually have their own personal jerk-off book hives. And they're always outliers, I guess. But yeah, between us and the Jades, the book hive is Blue-Green Dweeb City. Tyzias keeps moving like this is nothing new. To her, you guess it isn't. She pushes the creaky wooden door open to reveal a large study room full of bookshelves and furniture. There are even a few weird-looking ferns decorating the place. In here are a bunch of trolls, some reading, many on their computers. You dump the stuff you lugged here onto one of the tables. The sound echoes in there, and a handful of trolls look your way. Yikes. You hope your presence won't be too conspicuous. You're probably fine. Unless anyone gets horny for acting grown and wants a bounty. But you're with me, so they probably wouldn't mess with you. You're a little surprised by that. Tyzias, who is slumped down in a chair and is stolidly reorganizing her piles, doesn't exactly give off a brawler aura. No, like they know I'll talk him out of it. Or whine at them about leaving me alone until I do. That makes you feel safe enough. So, time to do some old-fashioned organization. What is this big project anyway? It's just some bullshit. She stops and cuts her eyes around the room, but no one is still paying attention, as far as you can see. She starts speaking again, quieter. An assignment for one of my Legis Lacerator training courses? We're supposed to choose a prosecutable offense from the scrolls of evisceration and list all potential. She must be able to sense your eyes glazing over at the idea of another long and not parsable legal jargon ramble, because she cuts herself off there. It's barely worth describing. Grub school level, honestly, but it's extremely fucking tedious to research and then annotate, especially when you can't find sources that have been scrubbed nice and fuchsia. Anyway, as long as we get things in the right folders in the right order, we should be good for now. Sounds good enough to you. Plenty of time to keep chatting and getting to know each other. Though, she said this was a group project, right? We're group members. Shouldn't they be contributing? Okay, let them. Just kidding. I'm very good at allowing people to help me. She grits her teeth and nods at you, masterfully setting aside the papers labeled with a letter that looks like a little microscope. Case in point. Anyway, they did their parts already. I just want to make sure to add the finishing touches. Right then, you hear approaching footsteps. It had better not be some high blood you gotta take out. You mean, you'll do it if you have to. It's tried and true. You're not sure how well this dynamic duo would fare in that case. You stop scanning the room for potential bludgeoning material when you see Tyzias' expression go from regular tired to tired and annoyed, but not in fear of mortal peril. You hear him speak right as you start to turn. How the mighty fall, and into a mud puddle it seems. At least my associate seems to be picking up after you fairly efficiently. Fuck off, Sorgor. We'll have it together in time. You sure you don't require any assistance? I'll have to raise my rates from my original offer, but you know it still stands. Did your part already. So spare me both your sales pitch and your company before you give me a second acid tube ulcer. Alright, you need to do those fine edits of yours. Subtextual anti-establishment agendas don't insert themselves after all. Do it yourself. See you in class. They give each other an identical but inscrutable hand signal. If the huff of perturbation from a nearby jade is any indication, it's got to be something vulgar. Perish. Perish. He smirks and raises his eyebrows at you as he turns to go. Come by later? You nod. You open your mouth to be nosy, but Tyzias sees it coming a mile away. What, you never had a class friend? Someone who does good work but is miserable to hang out with? I don't have time to waste on more than one quadrant or on lying to you, so don't blow a drain gasket. Brain gasket, whatever. Just when you think you have all the troll dynamics down, you've got to make room for that cursed bastard, Nuance. Anyway, you guess it makes sense. You and your troll friends have all kinds of weird vibes with each other, too. Whatever works. Exactly. You go back to happily sorting. Tyzias rolls her shoulders and starts leafing through your piles. Where's my... Have you seen a handwritten page? It should be here. She starts double-checking herself. Her pace doesn't so much escalate as it does intensify. Her whole body becomes almost graceful with efficiency. You got everything, right? I thought I watched where it all went. I could have sworn I saw land. You can help her redo a lost page. It shouldn't be too hard to recreate it. That doesn't help. She glares at you and starts forcefully whispering, still double-checking piles without looking, like she knows them by touch. You don't understand. Here are my personal notes on an extremely sensitive topic I discovered while researching. I was only planning on using it to inform my stance, not turn it in with the rest. It's not here. She stops her futile search, downs the rest of whatever's in her mug, and holds her head in her hands. I'm fucked. I might as well lay down right here until moss grows on my desiccated body. That's dramatic. You don't want to blame her or anything, especially since it is possibly sort of your fault it's lost, but you still want to give her hope. Maybe next time she could use Gorgle Docs. It won't blow away, and it has collaboration settings. You've used them with... Her head pops back up, her features slack. I can't use Gorgle Docs for this. Are you listening? That is the whole point. You know who owns that, right? Every document is monitored. Analog is the only way to do anything unless you know how to get me onto the dark web, which I fucking doubt. If someone found it, if my handwriting is recognized, I'm dead. And I'll never be able to... She trails off, just sort of slumped in her seat, staring into the void. Shit, you really fucked up. You admit to her that you may have allowed one page to blow away when you weren't paying attention, and that it could possibly have been that one. Great. Can't believe I was stupid enough to let someone else handle things. I was just so tired. Her shoulders start to shake a bit. Oh no. She doesn't cry, but you almost wish she would. The way she just keeps blinking back her tears and hiding her face with her arm is worse. It feels invasive to watch, and thankfully doesn't last. She sniffs once, clears her throat, and wipes her face with her sleeve. Silently, she stacks all her things back in a pile. Okay, I need to retrace my steps. Maybe I haven't been spotted yet. Maybe it'll be okay. It won't, but oh well. You reach to help, desperate to fix the situation, but she gingerly picks your hand off one of her books and drops it in your lap. Your stomach sinks to join it. No, don't worry, I've got it. She wrestles it all into a precarious heap in her arms. It wobbles once as she makes her way steadily to the door, but she catches it herself. Head high, she keeps walking. She doesn't look back. Game over. Aww. Okay. Alright, that is more than all the time we have for today. Thank you all for hanging out. We'll be back with more of this on Thursday. Y'all have a great day out there.